Welcome to the Next Level Podcast, and today we are talking about additions, permitted and unpermitted additions. So let's start off with what is an addition?
In addition to a house would be anything that was added to the home after the original layout or the original house was constructed.
Perfect. So what you're saying is it's anything that is added to the house after it's been built.
Correct. Yeah, that's an addition. So, you have the original floor plan, but say you want to convert or add a bedroom or a patio or add square footage underneath the original roofing structure. So say like it's a garage, but you want to add a bedroom in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an addition to the square footage, to the layout of the house.
Gotcha. And Bailey, do you have any additions on your current property or any of the properties that you currently own?
Not that I can think of. I don't think so.
What about you, Anthony? Do you have any additions?
No, because I'll tell you one thing about additions is most of the time when people say, "Oh, yeah, like we made an addition," it's typically not a real good idea. It doesn't typically turn out well. And I'll explain that. A lot of additions we see, people go, "Oh, yeah, no, I added this and I added that." And the designer typically had the best idea for the property.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's natural. You walk into the house and you're like, okay, this makes sense. It flows. But when you have an addition, it's real hard to incorporate something that just really looks nice aesthetically, but also is functional to the original house plan. It can be done, but it's a major undertaking. So when people tell us that, hey, I added this on, or now this is converted over here, when we go into homes all the time and we look at them, we go, well, yeah, you added another bedroom, but it really didn't add much value to the property, or it's a little funky layout, creates a little awkwardness in the home. And so I try to stay away from them personally, unless you're going to do a major renovation and really take walls out to reconfigure the whole layout.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. I have had a lot of conversations too as well with people that are selling their home. They're like, dude, yeah, it's got an addition, and they say like it's worth more now.
Yeah.
And that is not the case.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's unpermitted. We'll get into permitted versus unpermitted. But yeah, we have a lot of conversations with sellers that, undertake additions or what they perceive as additions, and it doesn't like Anthony said, it doesn't always flow super well, with the house.
Yep.
So you got to be very cautious, very intentional if you're going to add an addition.
Yeah, because usually the designer, the architect, he lays out the house and he's like, okay, this is what the average, person would really like on their house. Mm-hmm. And then somebody who makes that addition or that change is typically going to make it very specific for what they need. Like, hey, we need a room for our dogs, or we need a room for my band, or something like, or craft room. So we're going to now make, which was our porch, we're now going to create a room there.
Right.
Oh, man.
And then you're like, well, okay.
Or garage.
Or garage. Like, hey, I had a garage. Now that's now a place. I needed a place to put my dogs. Mm-hmm. So I created a room and I air conditioned it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, somebody would really enjoy that full garage. Mm-hmm. They don't have dogs. So it doesn't make sense for them.
Yeah, they're going to have their car outside, and they don't want to have their car outside. They want that garage. They don't want that extra room.
Right. Or if you enclose your patio and you're like, well, I don't barbecue outside. So I made it an extra, I shoot pool in there, or throw darts. Well, I don't shoot pool and throw darts. I would like to barbecue, and I want my patio back because it's covered, and I can hang out there in the summer.
Yeah, like I'm a huge cookout guy.
Yeah, there you
go. So if
go.
I don't have my backyard for my cookouts or just to chill with family or a campfire or something, that's a huge problem for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. I know your place, and so you enclose that. Your patio, and you're like, yeah, no, right there, that's cool. That's my spot where I relax. It's my little office now. But now you have no covered living outside. So how funky would that be?
Very funky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
most of the cases, additions aren't isn't going to mean the property is worth more. Usually, right, means that it's a bad thing. But are there cases where an addition could make a home like go up in value or actually like a good addition?
Yeah, but it's a major undertaking. I think you really got to reconfigure the whole house. You know, like if you're gonna push out walls and make a room bigger, that would be considered making an addition, and then pour concrete and redo your trusses and make it like really flow.
At that point, it's now a remodel.
Yeah, because we see a lot of houses. There may be vaulted ceilings or 8-9 foot ceilings.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you walk into a room and I'm short, but you get into a room and you're like, well, I feel tall here, so something's wrong because it was like a low, patio or something it was intended to be something else, and then you're looking around, you're like in a cave, and you go, this doesn't really make sense. It doesn't feel good to even be in that room.
Yeah. So an addition doesn't mean that it's a remodel, but a remodel can certainly have an addition.
Correct. Yeah, and I think there's a right way to do additions. We've seen some of them. I have a guy, he blew out, his kitchen, took over his patio, but then he added another piece of concrete and he plumbed it, and now he has his bathroom and his master bathroom. So all his bedrooms were over here on one side, and then he created where his master bedroom was next to the other two. He created a whole master suite that's really natural, and it looks good. It feels good when you're inside. It just feels like it's part of the original. But he had to do new trusses, new ducts for your AC, and so it just looks good. And a lot of the times, here's the thing with additions. A lot of times they put stress on the systems that are in place.
Oh, okay.
So you can add on a room, but if your AC is designed to only, say, cover 1,500 square feet, but you're like, I'm going to enclose this room, and it's going to give me another 150 square feet, 200 square feet. So now you went from a 1,500 square foot house to like a 1,650, 1,700.
And that's extra square footage that the AC has to work to cool the house.
Right. So, you're like, well, I'm just going to add a duct right here. And so you vent. You just add a duct.
Right. So the original venting was already done in a way where it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, it's perfect for the type of unit that it is. You add another ducting to it, you have now changed
you compromise the whole system.
Airflow and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the challenges that you look at. And you're like, this is cool. But you have a 4-ton AC. You added another 200 square feet. Well, really, for every ton of square footage, you need to add 250 square feet. For every 250 square feet, you need to add another ton.
Right.
So
efficiency. That's the word I was looking for.
Efficiency. So now your AC is undersized.
Yeah.
See the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's things that we look at.
And even on the regular rooms that you're used to, when you feel the AC, you're gonna be like, hey, it feels like it's throwing less pressure there.
Yeah, it could for sure.
I see.
That's one issue.
And in addition to that, we're talking about the labor and the material and the work that is needed to put into an addition, as well as the thought process behind, okay, what else do I have to adjust in the home? And plus, no pun intended, in addition to that, you got to get permits. So we talked at the beginning about unpermitted and permitted additions.
Oh yeah.
If Anthony, you want to talk about that a little bit?
We see that all the time.
What's unpermitted? Is that Wild Wild West?
That is. We see a lot of it. You see a lot of it everywhere. So typically in the older homes and
so what is
foothills.
What is the difference between unpermitted permitted additions? Like what is it?
I mean, the difference is one you pull a permit and the other one you don't. Typically, the unpermitted is you just start doing stuff yourself. So here's where the problem lies. You say, hey, I'm going to make an addition. And and say it even flows. Say it even makes sense. Let's just say it makes sense. For example, it makes sense in this. You have the storeroom and you're going to create a bedroom out of it.
Okay, so I have a storeroom. I don't like this storeroom.
No, the storeroom you don't need. It's just filling a bunch of junk. But
I have a storeroom and I don't want it. I don't need it.
You don't need it because.
So I want to give this storeroom purpose.
Yeah, because let's just say your daughter's coming back home.
Yeah, I read a book. And that book was talking about giving purpose to everything, and I want to give purpose to this storeroom.
Okay, I'm going to give you purpose right now then.
What's my purpose?
So that room, you've had a baby. Ooh, there's purpose to your life.
Do I love this woman?
Yeah, I don't know, but you had a baby.
Okay, I'm having a baby. I'm keeping it.
Okay, so now you have a baby. You need a room.
The storage room.
The storage
You're gonna
room.
put the baby in the storage
I'm
room,
gonna
bro?
put the baby. But hold on.
No. We're gonna make it natural. We're gonna create an opening from the inside.
It's like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Put him on the staircase.
Felix isn't that savage. So we're gonna create an opening on the inside. We're gonna turn that addition, that storeroom that you normally would go in from the exterior.
Yeah.
You're now gonna have a door opening from the interior.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You'll
yeah.
add a closet, and it's now a bedroom. And you're gonna put a window.
It has to have a window.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So say it makes sense, but you just decide to put the window.
Yep.
You decide to change the door. Seal off the outside door, put the inside door.
So
Okay.
is this a real window, or is it like Planet of the Apes where they like draw the? they draw the
It better be a real window.
With a marker.
Yeah.
No. It's a real window.
Baby's gonna be living in.
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah. I really love my baby.
So yeah, we need to have a window for safety.
Okay.
So you got this house. Okay.
Okay.
Then 2 years down the road, you're like, hey, I want to sell the house.
Yeah. Interest rates are crazy. I can't afford this, man.
No.
No.
You had another baby, and you're like, I need to get.
I need to calm down, man. Okay, so I have
need another
baby.
room.
I need another room. I need a bigger house.
I need a bigger house. I got to
Okay.
sell
Need
this.
upsize.
Let's do it.
So-
And it's been 2 years now that I've read this book, and I've actually made some money, so I can buy another house.
Yeah, and he's like, you call me up. You're like, hey, Anthony, I need to sell the house.
Yep.
Okay.
I need purpose.
I walk it. I'm like, Felix, beautiful house. Like, show me around.
Oh, look! You want to see something cool?
Yeah.
I got this room right here because I had a baby 2 years ago. I don't know if you know this, but I had a
No,
baby.
yeah.
He's 2 years old now.
Junior.
Beautiful. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
so smart. So we had the storage room, and it had no purpose.
Oh, really?
And I read this book about purpose, so I gave it purpose.
Nice.
Oh, so you had the baby to give yourself purpose.
No, I gave the room purpose, but you might be onto something.
Okay.
And look, I added a window and a closet, and it looks real nice.
Okay, yeah. So this is permitted, correctly?
What's that?
You didn't pull permits for this?
What are you saying?
Did you put? So you have this nice window. It looks good.
Yeah, it cost a lot of
You
money.
did it right.
Oh yeah,
Okay. You didn't pull a permit?
permit.
You didn't go to the county and get, their approval.
Why would I do that?
Well, you created an addition, and you did a bunch of work that requires a permit.
Am I supposed to do that?
Well, Felix, I mean, we can sell this house, no problem, but you're not going to be able to count this, your new bedroom.
How am I not going to be able to? It's got a
Dun, dun,
closet and it's got a window.
No, I get it. Hey, man. Somebody can use this, but you can't count this as part of value.
Why not?
You were telling me that you told me this house is like 1,700 square feet, but I see that it's only 1,550.
So what you're telling me is that all this money I spent on making this really nice addition and doing it right does not matter because I didn't get it permitted?
I mean, it holds somewhat of value to somebody. Maybe get a cash buyer, but Felix, I mean, if you get an appraiser out here and he appraises it and he says, hey, it's bigger than what the original plans showed, and now it's not showing this as a bedroom, it's showing it as a storeroom, he's not gonna be able to count it.
So unfortunately,
It's an illegal addition. I'm sorry, man.
wow, I didn't know that I was supposed to get a permit for this.
Yeah, you should have called me before you did it.
So how do we move forward now?
Well, here, that's the tricky part.
Oh, tell me.
Sometimes, well, every time you don't pull a permit for an addition or for some type of, it's like having to unravel the mess that you've already created.
Oh man, that sounds like a headache.
Yeah, at this point, man, let's just sell the house, but it's not going to hold the value. It's going to have value, but you're not going to be able to get the per square foot value. So you're going to have to use comps based on the 1550 original.
So this individual is going to get a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home for the price of a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and hopefully the underwriter or the bank doesn't make you,
Pay for the permits or something.
deny the loan and because you got an illegal addition.
So now I've made this whole so much more difficult for myself because now it's not just that I got to sell it for less. Now I have to pray that the lender is going to be like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that because there's an unpermitted addition.
Yeah, depending, it could be FHA or something, VA. They're kind of sticklers, but you're not going to sell it for less. It's just not going to be able to count that, you invested $5,000 into this room, you
Right.
told me, right?
Right.
So you're not going to get 10,000 or 15,000 like you should have out of that $5,000 investment you
I
made.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well,
So-
now I know.
Yeah, that's shout out to the role play. Let's go. So pause role play real quick. What is this? What is the process to pull permits?
Yeah, how do we
What
do
does
that?
that look like?
Oh, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
You go down to the city, just a little permit sheet.
Mm-hmm.
You just tell them what you're doing and how much it's going to cost. They give you the value of. They charge you the permit based on the value of the project.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know those exact costs, but county, city, all change from county to city.
Mm-hmm.
And you fill that out. You say, hey, I want to do $5,000 worth of work. I'm going to be doing an addition, a bedroom addition. I'm going to need you to. I'm going to do drywall. I'm going to put a window in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put up some insulation. So they're gonna need to inspect that at the stages, just like you would a new build.
Yeah.
So they're gonna want to see you. Okay, this is a storeroom. You're gonna do the demo. This is what you're doing. And so as they go through the process, and you get through the drywall and you're done, they sign off on it. It's permitted. And so it's not really that big a deal. Most people are like, I don't want to go through all that. I don't really get why they wouldn't. Because the value, you get to add you get to add square footage to your home.
Is it pretty lengthy time?
No, it's not lengthy at all.
Okay.
I mean, it might take a week to get that permit.
Oh.
So it's not that bad.
No,
Well, it's not that difficult to do. It's a simple process.
especially if you're doing it yourself. You can do this. The county doesn't require that you get a licensed
professional.
to do a lot of repairs. I mean, there's some things that they do require. Some electrical stuff.
Not unless you're like talking about like extending something that has to do with utilities, right? Like gas, electricity.
Yeah,
and stuff like
utilities, or you're putting even if you're putting a beam in and changing some structural stuff, as long as you have the engineering to support it, you can do anything yourself. It's your home. They don't require that kind of stuff.
that. Oh, okay. Because
HVAC, they probably would.
right, and they don't require much because you already got to submit some sort of plans to them, right?
Yeah, you got to give them, hey, this is what I'm doing. So in addition to that, yeah, you have to submit your
And
plans.
someone in the city who's an engineer takes a look at that plans and goes like, okay, no, yeah, that will work.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, since we now know that this actually works and won't be a problem, full liberty, get it done.
Yeah, exactly. It's as easy as
Okay.
that.
Now, that was a perfect example of what it looks like, for a seller, for somebody who owns a home and is thinking about doing an addition. Let's flip the coin now. And what does this look like, and how does it affect an investor?
Yeah, it's like unraveling that bird's nest that you walk in, you're like, okay, you converted your garage into a bedroom, that storeroom into another bedroom. We saw this recently, Felix.
We did.
It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on paper with the garage and a storeroom. We walk in, it's 5 bedrooms,
Yeah.
2-bath.
That's how we were able to get the inspiration for the role play. We lived through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on the investor side. You have to be very cautious in how you give that information to the homeowner, because who are you role playing? What was your name of your role play? Right? Is it Felix?
No, let's call me Timmy.
Timmy?
Yeah.
Okay, so just how Timmy got a little bit flustered at Anthony, like, hey, wait, what are you talking about, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just how Timmy got a little bit flustered in that role play. That's how sometimes sellers.
They're like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
they're
and
like-
that wasn't even intentional. I actually got flustered.
Yeah, and it's sometimes. That's if the sellers are willing to even listen to you. Sometimes it goes in one ear out the other. Like if somebody encloses a garage and they're sold on the fact, like, no, this is a bedroom and you need to count it in your offer.
Yeah.
And you try to portray the fact like, hey, don't shoot the messenger here. Like, this is, you don't have to take my word for it. I know we're trying to purchase, your property though.
Yeah.
You can ask any type of professional, this garage is a garage. You can't count it as square footage just because you took the garage door out and put a wall.
And sealed it. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's you can count it as now square footage. And you got to be careful on how you give that information, because sometimes sellers get flustered, just like Timmy. And
Yeah, I mean, and to go to that point, I mean, even say they permit, so we do see, like permitted additions, or
Yeah, for sure.
they'll turn a garage. Even telling them at that point, like, hey, well, that bedroom worked really well for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like you needed your grandma to come stay with you,
Mm-hmm.
and so you made that was a nice space for her.
Was it?
And it
Is
looks
it called
good.
mother-in-law suite or something like
Yeah,
that?
you made a mother-in-law suite out of your garage,
Mm-hmm.
but like 99% of people buying in this neighborhood, they don't want the granny
They
suite.
want a garage.
They
want
want,
the
you know,
garage.
the garage actually is more valuable to them.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
And so you try to tell them that.
Yeah.
they're trying to understand it. Like, you're telling me a garage is more like they want that more than this room, and they just don't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, well, you know, yeah, honestly, it makes more sense because people, you know, like to park inside.
Yeah.
Unless you find a buyer who wants the exact same thing that you want, but
Yeah.
now you're limiting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're very there's not
Yeah, you're finding a specific buyer instead of being able to cast a wide net.
and that could
capture
take
bunch
a
of buyers.
long time.
Yeah, it takes a long time, and you're right. Like you find that specific buyer, and you're like, oh, they're like, dude, this is perfect. I need my grandma to come stay with me too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, I'll pay more for it.
Mhm.
That would be beautiful.
Yeah, but it's a very particular buyer. Your buyers will diminish it significantly if you're looking for that, you know,
Yep.
needle in a haystack. You know?
Right. So
Probability game, eh?
so
Yeah.
going back, you know, delivering that news to somebody.
Yeah, you got to be very, very careful. And sometimes what we run across too is, like, we get a call from a seller or to look into a property, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I have a duplex or a triplex," and we go
Oh, I love
and there's
those.
and we go to an appointment, and it's you go out, you pull up outside, and it's just looks like a house, and you look at the address, like, am I at the right address? And then you go inside, and you are at the right address, and they just happen to put three walls, just smack dab in the middle, and there's two of them's rented out, and one of them, the person's living in, usually a single person. And
Most of the time, they're not even done right.
yeah, and
No,
so
they're awful.
they make, good, like Anthony said, it works for them. But when they sell it, you can't do the value as a duplex. It's a house.
Yeah.
It's not a duplex.
And that's a challenge for everybody, not just investors, even for real estate agents too. Like,
delivering that news. Yeah,
delivering that news is not easy.
right.
The best one, Bailey, you probably ran across this, is like, hey, Bailey, let me show you. I did all the work in this house.
Yeah.
They're all proud.
Yeah, I did everything. And see this girl, like I did all of it.
Mhm.
And you're like, yeah, this is nice. It looks great.
Yeah.
And then, so like, yeah, it's worth more money because
They did put their time and money into it.
Well,
and
no, it's worth
they probably
more money
did learn
because
something they didn't know.
I
but
did it too,
Mm.
Yeah.
and they're real proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And what do? You're like, yeah, it's super nice.
yeah, and it's true. A lot of times people put work in their house. It is super nice.
Mhm.
Though you can't always count it with the value. It's not a trade for trade.
Yeah, that
Now,
gets
Things
what
got
we're
to be done
saying-
right.
Yeah, exactly. What we're saying is, they should be proud because they did something that not a lot of people can do. A
Mhm.
lot of people are scared to do those types of things, and props to them to actually doing it.
Mhm.
And maybe it wasn't done right, but they got it done,
Mhm.
right? But what we're saying is that works for you, and that has more sentimental and emotional value than it actually does, like actual monetary value or to the property.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times those come out and about because you're kind of like on a weekend. I think this is how I think the process goes, is like you're talking about it, and
With
because
a beer in one hand and a hot dog in the other.
exactly, and you're like, hey, and I'm your brother-in-law, and I'm like, hey, Felix, we should turn that that storeroom into a bedroom. Like, that would work.
Yeah.
What are you doing next weekend?
Yeah.
Like, I can come help. Get the material. I'll come help.
All right.
And that's what happens. And
Yeah,
then,
just like that.
and next thing you know, you're like, you're working on it, and
Go bring the other 6-pack. Let's do it.
yeah. And so you're down this rabbit hole, and it looks great. Comes out, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because hey Felix, I can frame, or I do drywall. We'll take care of it. Go buy that window at Home Depot. And
Oh, yeah. If
buy
they
a
work
door.
on that, it's going to look nice. They're going to make sure it's done right. But if you're just like a regular homeowner,
And you're like, no, I don't want to go down there and get that
Yeah.
permit.
yeah, no. You're going to run into issues.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think the worst part of additions is just the natural layout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does it feel natural?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, yes, you're absolutely right, because I have been inside properties with additions, and you just feel this weird juju from the house because you're there and you don't precisely know what it is, but something feels off,
Right.
and it's that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you run into that a lot, like when you're selling a house or you're walking a house and it's empty,
Mhm.
and you're like, okay, that's the living room. okay, that's the kitchen. Like that's where the dining room's supposed to be. There's the kitchen. What's this space over here?
Yeah.
And then you're looking around. You're like, okay, ceiling height changes a little bit. Okay, I think this used to be like part of their patio.
Playing detective.
You don't really know, and you're like, what the heck's going on here? So
meandering around the house with like you're making a map or something.
yeah, and then you like somebody comes in. Oh yeah, no, that's where Susie used to have her crafts. And you're like, makes sense.
Yeah, and then you come back to the office and you look at the photos, and then you try to explain it, like to the rest of the team. Like, okay, this is the bedroom. This is the bedroom. This is.
Yeah, I'm like, Bailey, what's this?
This is playroom. This is a paint room. Okay, yeah.
Why are there red lights and harnesses to the wall?
Oh
yeah, trouble.
That's worth money.
That's an appraiser would definitely count that as
Yeah.
more if you decorate it right.
The appraiser gonna want the house.
Yeah, be like, I'll buy it.
So I think you pretty much said the like the way you work with unpermitted additions and during our role play. You said like, hey, unfortunately, you're gonna have to look at other comps that reflect the original square footage. So is that what an investor has to end up doing on their end if they come across an unpermitted addition?
Yeah, either that or deduct even sometimes to get it to unravel that.
Oh, because that's right. If you end up taking that project, you're going to have to go to the county and
Yeah, and you might have to open the walls and everything and just take it back down and say, hey, we're going to make this, like, what do we need to do this as a permitted addition?
Oh, okay, so I guess the first step is to decide, do you want to find out if you can keep it or not?
Like say, okay, check this out. So let's just say you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house garage.
Okay.
They took the garage and made it into a granny flat or a big room.
Yeah.
So that the grandma can have a couch in there and she has a
Okay.
closet. And okay, now, but you buy the house. You guys come to terms. You buy the house and you're
Yes.
like, that's not permitted.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay because I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to demo that out and it's going to be a garage. Like
I'm doing a full remodel.
Yeah, do a remodel, but I no longer want that as a granny flat. I want it as a garage. So you just undo everything. You just take everything out and make it a garage.
Yeah, you count that in your repair costs.
Yeah, you just make it in your repairs. So, that might take
So
some
that's
demo.
one option, right?
That's one option.
If you want to decide to keep it, then you're going to have to go unravel the mess with the city county. And you
Yeah.
have to account for whatever that might be as well.
Yep, exactly.
So you either decide to keep it and you account for how much that would cost to get that thing unraveled and set straight, or you decide to, you know what, I'm going to do a full remodel anyways. I'm just going to take it off like it never happened.
So
Exactly.
What happens if, let's pretend somebody does an addition, and then an investor buys the house, and then they decide, okay, yeah, I'll keep that unpermitted addition that you did. Hold on to it. I'll just go to the county and get permits. What if the county denies it?
Yeah, they can. Well,
And how are they pretty particular about that? Like,
yeah, they can be. They can be like, well, it doesn't look. They can come out there and check it out
okay.
and go like, hey, you just have to demo out all this, all the drywall so we can see the wood and see if the studs, if they have enough studs in between and according to county standards, and then they may go like, hey, this is not structural, or there's something like they added this on and with the weight or whatever, like say like on top of it you had to put a mini split, or they did something and they're like, this isn't structural, or they opened up a space. That's where we see a lot of the problems is you open it up. You're like, yeah, let's take out this door and make it a big opening. And like, well, now you need a header here because you're not supporting the trusses because you took out a wall. You took out a bunch of wall. So that's where you really run into some problems, Bailey, where the county would be like, no, like you either got to put back this wall or you need to put a beam up there to support those trusses.
So then is it good to say that it's just best to calculating your repair costs, like the scenario that you might have to put it back?
Yeah.
Rather and then is it safe to do that? And I guess what I'm really trying to say is should I account for that because it's always going to be less to unravel the mess than it is to put it back, or is that not the case?
I think it would be like in your case, when we went to your house and it was unpermitted,
Yeah.
but it felt really natural, and that fourth bedroom would be really valuable. So then I would probably unravel the mess.
Oh, okay.
And,
I gotcha.
and then put it back so that way I can have that 4-bedroom, rather than just demoing it all out and leaving it, back to a storeroom.
So the value to you investors for this episode is this: have a system in place where you do account for that when you're trying to lock up a property. Make sure while you're talking to the seller to find out if there are any additions to the houses, and right away, if there are, find out if they've been permitted or not. If they do not know because they bought it off of someone and it was already there, or they just don't know, you head over to like the county assessor's website, and then you find the location where you can search up property records. You put the property address, and in there you find all the additions that have been done. And if you see nothing, then it's unpermitted. And if it's unpermitted, then the next step is to decide what you want to do with it and account for those repairs or costs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's the best way. And then you got to make a decision as an investor. Will adding that extra room make me more money, or is the cost to do the addition or to go with it, is it really going to pay off in the end? Am I going to be able to sell it for more?
Yeah.
So that's the business decision that you got to make. But yeah, those are the two things: find out, budget for it, and then make the decision which way to go.
Cool. Yeah, and real quick, one last topic. Let's talk about bedrooms. Like when somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I got an extra bedroom, but it's just 4 walls." What has to be accounted for in the bedroom?
Ooh.
Go, Felix.
All right. So I read a book, and this book says that in order for a room to count as a room, it needs to have at least one window
And purpose.
and and a closet. There's
go.
got to be a closet, and there's got to be a window, and at least 2 plugs.
And a lot of the times you gotta have heating.
And you got to have some sort of
Ventilation.
heating and cooling to that room.
Yeah.
You don't actually need cooling. It's funny.
Just heating?
Yeah, you need heating, but
I thought it was both.
no, I mean,
Well, here in Arizona.
Arizona, you want to have it. I mean, but you don't need to.
In Arizona, you don't need cooling?
No, technically, so HUD is the governing body on that, and so they say you got to have, because people die of like being cold.
In Arizona?
Hey, I didn't write the book, man.
I don't know, but do they die in Arizona?
I don't know.
This is
Look that up.
insane, dude.
Somebody fact check that. If anybody's died, I don't know if anybody's died in Arizona freezing to death.
Share this video with all the human rights activists. We need to do something.
Yeah, I know the heat, right? So, but I mean, if you want to sell and you're like, hey, yeah, no, it's got heat, but it doesn't have AC, people are gonna look at you going, nah, pass.
What about okay? So that's what the government wants, right, in America.
Mm-hmm.
What about a bank? What about a lender? Is that a different story or
No,
the same thing?
Heat.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because they're going off of like the HUD standards.
So those people that don't have cooling, you're in luck. But those people that don't have heating, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Oh
We
my
run into that.
God.
We run into that, like mini splits.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
the
mini
straight
splits.
cools.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
so they only cool.
The 1 tons, right?
Yeah, the 1 tons, but so they only cool, but they don't heat.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, you run into them.
Or
If a room has just like a window air conditioner,
yeah, like us. They're not called swamp coolers, right? They're
no
not-
window, just like a window AC,
Window unit.
a window unit. It doesn't have heating.
Man, I didn't really realize, until now.
Yeah,
That seems a little
I mean,
absurd.
most of the times, like if you see a vent like we have in this room,
Yeah.
and an appraiser walks in, they're not like checking to make sure this is heated
Yeah,
or cooled. So usually you get away with it,
that's true.
but you better have the vent.
Wow, man. Even I learned something new today.
Yeah, there
It's
we go.
crazy.
Dropping bombs.
Boom.
So yeah, how come you asked about the rooms?
Well, because we run across it a lot.
We do run across it a lot.
Yeah, when sellers.
And it's true. Like you can make it a bedroom. You're like, yeah, my son sleeps there.
Yeah.
No.
Where did your son put his clothes? Under the bed. That's
Fold it up.
what
Yeah.
happens. But no, people, they have a misconception. And, a lot of people, they're just honest-hearted and they want to live. They're living and they're like, yeah, this is a bedroom right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they genuinely don't understand it. They genuinely they just don't.
Yeah, they don't get it. They're like, well, that's a bedroom. If you want to make it, more valuable, that's your problem.
And they,
Right,
and they look at you
exactly.
like, yeah, they look at you like, you're a freaking idiot, man.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's
you
crazy.
can do that if you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And what's so crazy is they believe it, right? So what messes me up at night is like, what do we believe that is not actually true, like the way they do with those additions?
I don't know. We go by the book. I don't know. We go.
I believe. No, I like I was telling you, I don't like additions
Yeah.
that are not natural.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. I believe if it works for your family and you want it, that's great, but just don't expect it to hold value.
Right.
Like if it works for your family, like I'm not going to tell you like, hey, don't you put that craft room in.
Right.
Right.
Hey, Timmy, if you want to put in that bedroom, make that into a bedroom.
Timmy's on his purpose, baby.
Yeah,
That's what we
if
do.
that's the purpose.
That's why
of
I bought that book.
Yeah, go for it, man.
It's only 1 page long.
Just when we go to sell it.
With one word, it says purpose.
Okay, that's vision. Timmy, you lost.
Timmy's on to something.
Timmy's
Yeah,
lost
man.
a couple
I
brain
think
cells.
Timmy's
He's
purpose is
inspired.
making babies.
Yeah.
Timmy lost a couple brain cells.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that's actually that's really cool. We talked about additions today because it's something I guess people know but don't really talk about. But when you finally like really break it down into like the system that it really is and how can it affect you, like you realize like we should like be proactively thinking about this.
Yeah, because when you do it like really well, you're an investor and you're like, okay, how can I really add value to this home?
Exactly.
And
yeah.
and you knock it out of the park. It's natural. You reconfigure some stuff because we have one guy that we work with, one investor. Man, he'll redesign the whole house. He'll knock walls out.
Oh yeah.
He'll get it permitted. It looks gorgeous, and it feels natural. And he gets extra coin for that because he's like always looking like, how can I maximize my dollar out of this?
He
I
knows
could
what the people want.
Yeah, I could do it the simple way, but if I put this square footage to use, man, I can really increase the value of this home.
Exactly. So don't be afraid of additions. Just make sure you do them right.
Yeah, exactly.
Fire.
Super high.
Sounds good. I
Purpose.
think that's some value.
Purpose.
The
Come on,
value.
dude. Purpose.
Purpose.
Let's go.
All right.
Purpose.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good to me. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Well, we are next level home buyers, and we don't buy properties. We buy problems.